Hello Web3 TV, I'm Lisa Amnegard, and today we're at the Global Blockchain Show 2024 here in Dubai, and joining me right now is Reeve Collins, co-founder of Tether. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. Yes, it's great to be here.
How's your day been so far?
It's been busy, lots of conferences.
I can imagine you were one of the speakers here today, so what were the main topics that you wanted to discuss?
Yes, so here I kind of shared a bit about my background, creating Tether, and then a handful of other businesses since then that have all been integral parts of the technology and the advancement of blockchain. My speech today was called Blockchain, Don't Lose Sight of the Why. And the reason that's so important is today, with Bitcoin at $100,000, and so much enthusiasm and excitement around the price and around the money, which is great, it brings excitement, but it's not the why. The why.
What is the why?
The why is because it's a revolution. It's a technological revolution, and what that really means is that people who are participating in this space are joining that revolution and helping us create better technology, better connectivity, democratization of access to financial services and to different types of investments, and to different currencies, and it's a better way to do business. Most importantly, the reason it's a revolution, because if you think about it, humanity has always been trapped into the currencies of whatever country they're citizens of, and using those financial systems. We've been fortunate in developed nations that that's pretty decent, but it could be better. But in undeveloped nations, it's really bad. And so now we have a revolution that we can join that gives people an option. For the first time in history, there's a technology out there run outside of governments, a new type of currency, a new way to transact, that's much more efficient and much better than what traditionally governments have had to offer. And the reason, again, that it is a revolution that we need to join is because when a service is so good that you can't live without it, governments can't stop it. They'll try.
Which is what we've seen now.
Yeah.
More governments are coming on board.
They're coming on board, they're joining it. The best example is Uber. When Uber came out, it was illegal. They had to fight cases in every city, every state, every country. And they lost some. But when they lost, people revolted because it's such a good service. Now think about that on a global scale for currencies and technology. That's where we're going.
And that's a good explanation. And now countries, they're trying to decide on frameworks and how to kind of regulate it. So you coming from much knowledge about blockchain, how should it be regulated, you think?
I mean, that's a very deep question. And how it should be regulated, the answer is not overly regulated, because that's what kills innovation. And the United States absolutely tried to crush this for the last 10 years. And Donald Trump has come in and has had a complete reverse of course on how it's going to be regulated and implemented. And what that has created, especially in the US, is a massive amount of enthusiasm and a resurgence in development and people moving to the US to create crypto companies. Because before they were all leaving and keeping the US out of it because it was overly regulated, and not so much so that they were trying to kill it. And so it's created a new level of enthusiasm, because even though the regulations aren't there yet, if people believe that they're going to be regulated in a favorable way, then entrepreneurs will develop companies that will, they know, eventually be regulated, but in a positive manner instead of regulated in a way they might end up in jail.
Exactly, and that's what we've seen in the US. Yeah. So you have left Tether now. What are you doing now in this space?
It's another long and interesting and amazing story, but I've created a handful of companies. Right now I'm focused on bringing to market another stablecoin called TreasuryX, a crypto neobank called WEFI. And so TreasuryX delivers on the promise of Web3 in the way that it decentralizes what Tether does, meaning it gives the value to the users, to the people who are providing the value. They're the ones that receive it. WEFI is delivering on the promise of banking the underbanked in these developing nations, giving them high quality financial services. This is a promise that people in blockchain have been preaching for many years, and now it's finally coming to fruition. SuperSol is a Solana L2, focused on future-proofing Solana for DePIN and gaming. And so I'm really focused on delivering technologies that are going to further this revolution and make sure that the technologies are groundbreaking enough and worthwhile enough that people want to participate in this ecosystem. Because right now I just came from Abu Dhabi Finance Week. It was amazing. Lots of people from the traditional space, like the highest levels of the traditional financial space, and they're all finally acknowledging Bitcoin and blockchain, but they still look at it as like, oh, that's such a little bubble. You have no idea how much money we have, right? The traditional world has the trillions of dollars that hasn't even tapped in the space. And my rebuttal to them is, yes, we're this tiny little thing, because a lot of people right now say, oh, I missed Bitcoin, I'm too late. Well, Bitcoin's at $100,000. And you go there and Bitcoin at $100,000 and all the people with all the money say it hasn't even started yet. And so it's just kind of an interesting perspective. We're in our bubble of, oh, it's too late, and everyone else is like, it has not even yet begun.
No, that's true. I mean, it's definitely evolved in such a short span of time. But are there there's a lot of positives when it comes to blockchain technology, but are there any risks, do you think?
Massive. There's massive risks to every new technology, right? And so it's navigating that world. And so it's the responsibility of the private companies as well as the government, and that's where some regulations come in. And when any new technology is delivered on the world, and you can go back and all throughout history, the first thing that it's used for is usually illicit things and a lot of scams, a lot of different things like that. And we have absolutely experienced our share of that in the blockchain space, because it's global access to financial movements, and so everyone's going to do everything they can to steal that money from you. That is why it's taken so long to make blockchain easy to use, because you, the user, us, the people, we're the ones responsible for our own security, and we're not used to that. We're used to the bank having to do that.
Yeah.
So it's taken a long time for Bitcoin and blockchain technology to evolve to a space where the high level of security is user-friendly enough. And how that's going to be delivered soon, and what's going to onboard the next billion users, is AI. AI agents are going to make sure all that complexity is done behind the scenes, and that the users can just speak into their wallet and do whatever transaction they want.
And I've heard also companies that are using AI to help new users invest in cryptocurrencies.
Absolutely,
And
and that's what I mean, yeah.
And what's been really interesting this year is to see just how many more institutional investors are investing in various cryptocurrencies. So going forward, and there's also been a lot of momentum since Trump got reelected in the U.S., the 2024 U.S. election. So now going over to 2025, what do you think? What do you expect is going to happen in this space?
More enthusiasm.
More enthusiasm. Well, that's good news.
Yep, yep.
Well, I'm excited to see how it unfolds, and it was a pleasure speaking with you.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Lisa Amnegard, and you're watching Web3 TV.